Hello there, my name is Rachel Burdis. I'm the Inward Investment Manager at Invest North East, and I'm joined now by Dawn Dunn, who is the Fintech Cluster at Dynamo North East. So hi Dawn, thanks for joining me.
Hi Rachel, thank you very much for asking me this morning.
No, brilliant to have you. Could you maybe tell me a little bit more about your role at Dynamo North East and the Fintech Cluster?
As you know, Dynamo is a digital technology network in the North East region, and our main goal is to connect people to promote the digital and tech sector both within the region and without the region, and to help drive economic development through clustering, through creating critical mass in specific sectors, work streams, and looking at the ecosystem around that. And I look at a couple of clusters which are actually overlapping. They form part of the bigger ecosystem. And one of them has that focus on fintech, the delivery of financial services through technology.
Brilliant. And so how does the cluster work? What is its aim and purpose, and does it support companies within the region?
It has several aims, Rachel. One is to work with other bodies both in and out of the region to attract companies here, to highlight why it's a great place for them to set up a business, but also to support individuals and companies who are looking to develop in that sector. For example, if you did a family tree of the sector, you would actually see that some of the startups that we've got, some of the companies that people may call pure fintechs, if you like, actually have a provenance of coming from some of the larger companies. The expertise has been gained elsewhere, but they have felt that there is support and funding and the correct conditions for them to be able to establish a startup. So it's a balance between startups and corporates, and also promoting what we do here, because like every other region in the north, we have our individual strengths and we want people to know what they are.
So yeah, that's a really good point. Let's talk a bit more about our fintech strengths. I mean, we do have a number of key companies, you know, Newcastle Strategic Solutions, for instance, do a lot of work in that space, but even down to recent companies that have expanded into the region. Can you tell me a bit more about what the ecosystem for fintech looks like in the Northeast?
It's quite diverse because, as you say, we've got companies like Newcastle Strategic Solutions, like Atom Bank, actually, which is one of the names that people like to champion if they're talking about kind of fintechs in the region. But we've also got people like Caspian, artificial intelligence, looking at fraud within the financial sector, and startups such as Canny Payments. That's a reporting and reconciliation platform for fintechs. That's your back office. It's the plumbing that puts it all together. And just referring to that work that they do is all around payment processing. And payment processing is also an area where we've got a lot of activity going on. People may recognise companies such as WorldPay, Global Processing Services, FlexiCard, for example, a company that was sold for millions, that's based in the region. And people may also know of SagePay, that's come out of our kind of, our FTSE champion Sage, and part of their company was sold for a considerable amount of money last year, and the new purchasers are going to stay in the region because of the wealth of talent, because of the jobs that are already there.
And that's a really good point. So touching on that, why do you think companies are either moving to the Northeast or setting up and spinning out from other businesses within the Northeast? What's attracting them and keeping them here?
The easy solution would be to say because it's cost effective. But we can't deny that, but cost effective has many layers to it. So if you are a company that has acquired another, for example, you want somewhere where you know you can get good premises, good staff, and staff that will stay as well. You need that talent to be sticky, because as we all know, there is a cost to people moving around. And I think that the North East region is somewhere that people have a very strong allegiance to. When they come here, they stay here. We're also a bit of a region of explorers. We have always historically gone out to other parts of the world, to other parts of the country, looked at what's out there, gained knowledge, had a different perspective, I can't say it, and then brought that back to the region. And I think we're quite a region of entrepreneurs, actually. You look again historically where, you know, there's some fascinating world famous inventions came out of the Northeast, such as the windscreen wiper. Where else would it come from when it rains so much? But actually your modern day windscreen wiper, what is that? That's a piece of software that can be developed in a region where there are people to work on it. There's funding to support it. You've got very good commercial premises. You have got that support system both from the private sector and from the public sector. It's a perfect situation of coming together, and a very strong geographical location as well, because we are in that corridor, that kind of northern corridor between Manchester and Edinburgh. And I think that being able to access talent and opportunity from those areas gives us a really strong advantage.
True. In addition to our own, so, you know, of course, we've got 5 universities here with a significant number of STEM subjects being taught, and, you know, thousands, I think 32,000, if not more, students coming out of universities each year, as well as, obviously, you kind of hinted there, those who maybe have North Shored, those boomerangs who've maybe gone down to London, set up business or whatnot, and have come back to the North East. The pull of, well, I guess the people and the place and culture and the lifestyle here has meant that they wanted to return and bring that knowledge and set up new jobs, new companies and things. Can you talk a bit more about universities? Because I know you've previously mentioned to me about some work that a few are doing with local fintech companies. Can you tell me a bit more about that?
Yes, there's a lot of work being done in all of the region's universities that are pertinent to this sector, but the particular subject that we had been discussing earlier was the work being done at Newcastle, who have partnered with Atom Bank. And that work is being led by Karen Elliott and Ard van Moorsel, and it's looking at trust in algorithms. Trust, algorithms, data. And I think that big D word, fintech, is data. And we have a lot of work going on in that data section within the universities. There are data scientists, data analysts. There are people looking at ways that you can get very disparate sets of data to talk to each other, to get the outcome they want, and to push the boundaries of innovation within their company. And I think that that is very significant. We've got Teesside University, for example. They've started a couple of new courses only this year in response to demand, looking at skills that are required specifically to deliver financial services through technology, and looking at the role that data plays in that as well. We've got work happening at Sunderland. We've got work happening at Northumbria University as well. There's a lot of activity in the academic sector, which fits very nicely into our region's businesses here. Each can leverage the other, if you like.
Definitely, and I guess picking up on a few of those things there. So can't say data without saying NICD, can we? So National Innovation Centre for Data, based at Newcastle University, and the work that Steve Corey and the team are doing there to work with companies on harnessing that data and exploiting it to find new market opportunities or new products and services, but also then to link them in with PhD students or accessing that strong pipeline of talent that we have here in the region. And then also Northumbria University. So you've mentioned, you know, fintech and data. It all cuts across a number of themes, but cybersecurity being a key one as well. And Northumbria University have the cyber clinic there, so that's where students are able to kind of work on businesses and help them to understand where maybe strengths, weaknesses may lie, and to plug those gaps. So I think it's important to kind of make sure people are aware that there's lots of support there, just from universities, from facilities, from networks and clusters like the Fintech one at Dynamo North East, and that certainly is a real pull and strength in the region, isn't it?
It is, and that's what we hope to be able to do, to connect those people. I mean, you could almost look at the wider region as a bit of a live lab, where you've got the academics, the corporates and the startups, but very often the people that work in those companies or establishments have got their head down, very much working on what they do. And when we started to develop this work stream, this sector, if you like, within Dynamo, there was a lot of people saying, what have we actually got here? Is there enough critical mass to develop a cluster, to build an ecosystem, however wide or small you want to look at that? And it didn't take very long before other companies were actually putting their heads up and saying, we didn't even realise that these guys are down the road. We didn't even know that there are people working in the same sector as we're working in, and we could collaborate with each other. We didn't know that there was an opportunity to look at some of the technology that we're using around data and see how the university can develop that. And I feel really pleased that Dynamo has been able to become a focal point for them to have some of those conversations, because that's how innovation happens as well. That's how people spark great ideas off each other and how they develop what they're doing.
Brilliant. Well, I think that's a good note to end on. But thank you very much for your time there, Dawn. I think hopefully we've given people food for thought around the Fintech cluster in the North East.
Absolutely. Come and see us. Come and see what it's all about. We'd love to have a conversation with you.
Brilliant.